Alright, let's dive into what's happening with the Chiefs training camp, because there's a lot to unpack here, and it's not all smooth sailing. Day 8 just wrapped up, and while it was a lighter practice compared to the previous 3 days in full pads, it's the insights from defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo that really caught my attention. Personally, I think this is where we start to see the cracks and the potential in this defense, and it's fascinating to break down. First off, let's talk about Mansoor Delane. The rookie cornerback is still in a yellow, non-contact jersey, and Spagnuolo is being cautious with his shoulder injury. Now, what makes this really interesting is that Delane hasn't been able to fully showcase his physical abilities yet. Spags mentioned they're trying to protect him from himself, which, in my opinion, is both smart and a bit concerning. Smart because you don't want to rush a rookie into a situation where he could get hurt worse, but concerning because the season is right around the corner. If you take a step back and think about it, Delane's lack of full-speed reps means he's missing out on crucial chemistry building with his teammates. Spags admitted they need to see a lot from him before Week 1 against the Broncos, and that's a tall order. What this really suggests is that the defense might be relying on him more than we initially thought, and his absence in full-contact drills could be a bigger deal than people realize. Now, let's shift to Peter Woods, the rookie defensive tackle. Spagnuolo seems cautiously optimistic about him, but he also said Woods has a ways to go. One thing that immediately stands out is how Spags is framing this as a learning curve for all the rookies, not just Woods. From my perspective, this is a defense in transition, and the interior positions might actually be a better spot for a young player to make an impact. What many people don't realize is that the 3 technique or A-gap roles are more defined, which could give Woods a clearer path to contribute. But here's the kicker, Spags wants versatility, and that's where Woods' learning curve becomes critical. If he can't adapt quickly, it could limit his role. This raises a deeper question: how much patience will the coaching staff have with these rookies, especially when the season starts? Speaking of patience, Spagnuolo's assessment of the defense's physicality is a bit alarming. He straight up said they have a long way to go with their violent play, particularly after a rough day in goal line work. Personally, I think this is where the absence of vocal leaders like Brian Cook is really felt. Trent McDuffie is trying to fill that void, but it's clear this group isn't clicking yet. What makes this really interesting is that Spags is banking on preseason games to get them up to speed. But here's the thing, preseason is unpredictable, and if they can't get enough live reps, they might be playing catch-up when the real games start. If you take a step back and think about it, this defense could either gel quickly or become a liability early in the season. Now, let's end on a positive note, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Spags doubled down on the narrative that he's having a strong camp, and I find that fascinating. A detail I find fascinating is that Anudike-Uzomah has been dealing with injuries but is finally healthy, and it's showing. He's in his 4th year in the system, so he should be more comfortable, but what's really impressive is how he's capitalizing on the extra reps due to Ashton Gallott's absence. In my opinion, this could be a breakout year for him, but it's also a reminder of how thin the defensive line might be if injuries pile up. What this really suggests is that the Chiefs' defense could hinge on a few key players staying healthy and stepping up. So, where does this leave us? Personally, I think this training camp is a mixed bag. There's potential, but there's also a lot of uncertainty. The rookies need to adapt fast, the physicality needs to ramp up, and the leadership void needs to be filled. If they can pull it together, this defense could surprise people. But if they can't, it could be a long season. What do you think? Are the Chiefs' defensive struggles something to worry about, or is this just part of the process? Let me know in the comments below.